Hey, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are at in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Marc Lanehart, the Intuitive Prospector. Let me get my microphone hooked. It's working. If you could just give me a like or a heart, let me know that you can hear me okay. Just was working with the microphone this morning, having a little bit of technical difficulties, as we like to say, during the Mercury retrograde. So if you can hear me okay, you can see me okay, just give me a like or a heart or a smiley face, or just let me know that you can hear me okay. I'm going to turn the comments off just for this morning, just for this show, specifically for the next half hour. So if you are putting a comment in, I appreciate that. I will go back and answer your questions after the live show. If you want to engage with me on the Q&A after show, which follows right after this at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time, you can connect with me on my Intuitive Prospector page. That's where we have a direct Q&A conversation with me, and I answer all of your questions. So this morning, just want to say hello to you. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We're going into our second season of Metaphysical Mocha Mondays with Marc here on the Om Times Institute page. We're here every Monday morning, or most Monday mornings, at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are dedicated to getting you inspired, getting you thinking outside the box, thinking bigger than yourself. We're all about creating a spiritual community, being kind, caring, compassionate. That's why I started this show 2 seasons ago, was to give inspirational messages to help people in their spiritual journey and where they're going in life. So if you'd like to subscribe to what we're doing here on Om Times, it's all grassroots. We grow it. I don't have marketing associated with this. There's no Facebook targeting or anything like that. But you can subscribe by just turning on the turn on button. It should be down below when we go live on the Om Times Institute page or my Intuitive Prospector page. Just hit that turn on button. You can hit subscribe, and we'd love to have you join us as a spiritual prospector in search of your own spiritual gold for the week. So this morning's message, we're going to be talking about how to navigate the retrograde. There's a lot going on with the retrograde. So during my meditations this morning, that was what I was called to talk about. I feel like there are a few of you that need a little bit of help navigating this Mercury retrograde. If you don't know what Mercury retrograde is, the best place I'm going to, just for the sake of time, because again, I only go for a half hour and there's a lot I got to get to for you this week, I would recommend looking up the Farmer's Almanac online, and just type in what is Mercury retrograde, and it's all about planet alignment. And there are going to be a couple times during this year in 2018 where Mercury moves into retrograde. And if you think in terms of, I always think of Nikola Tesla when he said, if you want to unlock the secrets of the universe, you think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And it should be no different with planet alignment, or when planets and stars are doing something a little kooky. So in 2018, Mercury will be in retrograde during the date ranges of March 23rd, so we're 3 days into Mercury retrograde. It will go through April 15th, and then we'll have the next one in July 26th through August 19th, and then November 17th to December 6th. So I just want to give you some things to think about during retrograde, and things to maybe avoid, and things to watch out for. But before we do that, it's most importantly, It is Mocha Monday, so I always recommend grabbing a cup of coffee. I'm here in Seattle, Washington. That's where my healing studio, the Intuitive Prospector, is located. This is where I do my show, Inspired Living Radio, from right here. I'm not really out in nature. That's just a backdrop, but it's a cool backdrop, so I kind of like it. But grab your coffee, grab your tea. Let's get your Monday started off in a inspirational way. Let's take just 30 minutes to disconnect from everything so we can make time and make that energy and make that space to reconnect to something bigger than ourselves. And let's talk about what retrograde is and what we can do and some things to avoid. I'm also going to give you a number for the week for numerology. I try to give you, for those of you that have been following me for a while, thank you so much. I always appreciate the follows, the likes, the hearts, the love. I truly do appreciate that. And I've got a lot of spiritual prospectors out there all around the world. So thank you for following. And if you're new, what I like to do is give you a number for the week, an animal totem spirit to pay attention to pay attention to nature, because nature is our greatest teacher. Nature is our greatest healer. And I also like to give you a crystal stone, to something to just think about. If you've never worked with stones or crystals, I know in my journey I never really thought about it. And it was after a trip to Omega Institute, New York, where I had an experience with doing some meditation with crystals, and it was pretty cool. It changed my life. So let me give you a couple links, because I would appreciate if you would like to follow this page. Please subscribe to it. If you would like to have coffee and continue the conversation, or what I say is spiritual chat with me, I've gone ahead and pasted a link for the Intuitive Prospector page, which will follow right directly after this main show over on my Intuitive Prospector page. So make sure to like that, turn on the notifications so you can get notification of when I'm live to talk to you. And this will be right after. It's the Q&A, and I'll have a direct conversation. So I know some of you are here this morning. I see that Misty is here. Happy birthday to you, Misty. I believe it's your birthday today, so I want to just give you a shout out and say happy birthday. And I know that Paula's here and Mary's here. Just giving you a few shout outs. I know I have the comments turned off, but I just wanted to say, give some shout outs to some people, and then we'll continue the conversation right after this. So let's get into today's topic. If you don't catch the live episode, I have my YouTube library. So if you want to catch all of my shows, Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, if you want to do a little perusing of podcasts through your lunch hour or after work, I've gone ahead and put a link into my playlist for the Intuitive Prospector. I'd love to have you be a subscriber to the Intuitive Prospector library. And you can catch all of my shows there as well. So we're moving into our third season of Inspired Living Radio. I'll be on the air this Wednesday over on Om Times Radio, which is internet radio. So it's through the internet, any device from anywhere in the world. We'll be taking open phone lines and calls this Wednesday, or what we call Wisdom Wednesday, and that is at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, with myself and my co-host Kim Falcon in Richmond, Virginia, and we have a lot of fun. So moving into our third season, but you can get all of my videos there at YouTube. I'd appreciate you subscribing, turning on the notifications, and let's do a little spiritual prospecting for your own spiritual gold. So again, Mercury retrograde started March 23rd. We're moving to April 15th. Today's meditation just felt me called to talk about how to navigate the retrograde and some things to think about. When I look at retrograde, one of my mentors is very big into paying attention to the seasons and the cycles of your life, the external stimuli that can impact your life and things that go on, like a full moon. I remember my days from working as a firefighter EMT that we know that a full moon cycle would be coming into play. So when Mercury moves into retrograde, it disrupts a lot of travel. It can disrupt a lot of technology. It can disrupt a lot of communications. Energetically, it has an impact on us as humans. So one of the things that I like to do, one of the golden rules when I'm working with retrograde specifically, and this helped to remember this rule, we learned about the prefix RE. So if you look at the first two letters of retrograde, right, RE, and the prefix, it's a root word that means again, if you think about it. So retrograde is something is happening again. And when I think of retrograde, one of the things that I like to do is think about words, or if I'm doing something that begins with those words like reassess, revise, revisit, reconnect, redo, recall, re-say, refresh. If you can stick with those type of words, the RE, that prefix RE, because it means again, the root word of it, when you break it down, means again. If I'm doing these things to revise, revisit, reconnect, redo, refresh during this time period until April 15th, then I know that I'm in alignment with retrograde, because I'm trying to go with the flow. If you're going against, it's usually try not to initiate something that's big, but do finish what you start during the retrograde. But if a lot of times, in the totem animal spirit for this week is kind of cool because it's a jellyfish, and the jellyfish is about going with the current of the ocean, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a sec. But when you go with the flow of life and you go with the current of life, it's not such a struggle for you. It's a little bit easier journey of life for you. Now, with everything in life, your greatest responsibility and your greatest power is free will and choice. So you have the choice and free will to do whatever it is that you want. But if you go with the flow, things can go a lot smoother for you. And so that's what the retrograde is talking about, is something is coming up again. And I found through my spiritual journey that what we do resist does persist. And usually the lesson will continue to go on until it completes itself. So if you pay attention to what's going on externally, the external stimuli, things do come in seasons and cycles. And that's what I love about nature. I love that, nature in its own time and its own will gets things done when it's ready to. There's no rush. It knows that it's going to get done. It's been doing it for millions of years. And so try to pay attention to make nature your formula for getting things done, having a lot of patience, trusting the unseen world that will help navigate and help you through some tough experiences during the Mercury retrograde. So today's topic is navigating the retrograde. It's not as intense as some of the past retrogrades that we've had, because we do have retrogrades where there is a full moon cycle, there's a blood moon, there's a blue moon, so that can really impact and that can really kind of heighten or amp up the energy. And again, if you want to think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, just like your cell phone, just how I'm talking to you now through Facebook Live, think in those terms. You can start to unlock a lot of the secrets of the universe, things that are unseen, things that are only felt, and retrograde is that same thing. And so again, for me, if it's helpful, might not be helpful for you, I look at the RE, the prefix RE, which in the root word means again, and I try to do things that will be in alignment with the retrograde. For example, reassess, revise, revisit, reconnect, redo, recall, resay, refresh. Then I know I'm sticking on that right track. This weekend I had a development group that I'm a part of, where it's called the Platform Development Group, that was up north, and we had this laid and planned for months. And just want to give a shout out to my Platform Development Group, a bunch of great mediums that practice mediumship and platform demonstrations, and just a really good group of people. So I want to give them a quick shout out. Colleagues from Canada, and as well as colleagues here in the United States that get together and serve the spirit world and practice doing platform. But we had planned this event for months in advance, and of course things are not going to always go during retrograde according to plan. The location that we had picked didn't work out because of weather. Mother Nature had her own agenda for snow, and for some of the people to drive in the snow in the foothills of a mountain is not convenient. So last minute, one of the members was able to find another place for us to meet. Of course, things don't always go to plan. So I knew that this weekend, because I would be traveling, I'm always mindful of my travel plans, and I pay attention to things like nature and the weather and my vehicle. I inspect my vehicle before I make a road trip, just because when you're traveling through the retrograde, there can be some things that you're going to have some patience for. So this weekend was a prime example with my development group that I'm a part of, that we had to readjust. Again, there's that RE, that prefix of RE, readjust. We had to rethink. We had to redo what we were doing. And so I know that it was going to work out, because, again, when you put the RE in alignment with what you're doing during the retrograde, then you're in alignment with that flow of life, and you're like the jellyfish that is going through the ocean and going with the tides versus trying to swim against it. So you guys like my jellyfish? That's my jellyfish. So it reminds me of a handshake that I do with my niece had given me that. So when you go to do a high five with somebody, instead you do jellyfish. So sorry, just being a little silly this morning. So some of the things to think about when you're in the retrograde: don't purchase big items. I would recommend waiting till after 15th if you can. You can do comparison shopping if you're looking for a car, if you're looking for something that is a big project. You can do that. I would recommend that. And I had to take my own advice because I just made a big purchase with a platform that I'm working on for my spiritual development group, my weekly development group. We're making a switch over to a new platform. And I've been researching this platform for about 4 months now. I'm not going to give them, if you want to get the information, hit me up after the video. I don't want to promote anybody here through this video. And so I'm switching to a big platform for my online development group that I have because the connections are just way better. And I've been researching it. Wasn't sure if I wanted to put the money up for it, but I decided to do it. But then in the back of my mind, I was like, well, that's a pretty big purchase item to be making during the retrograde. And so I really thought about it, and it felt right. The spirit world, confirmed a few things for me, and so I pulled the trigger. But I would just, in your mind, just pay attention to any kind of big item tickets that you're thinking about purchasing during the retrograde. Do more comparison shopping than when April 15th comes around, especially if it's a big item like a house or a car. Those are big ticket items. I would really wait until after the 15th. That'd be my recommendation. Don't sign contracts. Just make verbal agreements, especially if they're life-altering decisions. If somebody is maybe on life support, that's something to think about. Some of the decisions that you might have to make. A verbal agreement's fine, and then sign the contract after the 15th is what I would recommend. Let's see here. During retrograde, some people just, I know back in the day I wanted just to go out and hide under a rock at times from retrograde because it gets a little bit crazy out there. There's a lot of sirens I've been hearing the last couple of days, so I know that we're in retrograde. I know that technology has been impacted. I was actually just testing the system before I went live and was having some microphone issues, and it's nothing different than I haven't done for the last 2 seasons, but I'm just mindful of the unseen world, the environment in which I'm a participant in, that I'm being impacted by retrograde. So I know that I need to navigate retrograde and have a little bit a head start, if you will, for the show, because I know that there was going to be some probably technology issues that would take place, and I was right because my microphone wasn't working. So give yourself a lot of time during the retrograde. It's okay to make verbal agreements, but I'd recommend not signing contracts. But don't hide under a rock either. I know at times you just want to. I know some of you that are watching are like, I want to just crawl in a cave and hide under a rock and stop living. And you can't do that during retrograde. You have to just, as I always say, be a big wave surfer and surf these waves of change that come at all of us, and let that be an enjoyable experience for the waves of change versus trying to, go up against the waves of change and trying to control things that you are not in control of. The only thing that you are ever really in control of is your own thoughts and how you respond to both your internal and your external environments. So just expect delays, expect snafus, if you will, and get more in line with doing things that start with the prefix RE. Rethink, redo, revisit, revive. Those are all very powerful words. So let me get another drink of coffee here real quick. Again, if you're just joining us, thank you so much for being here for Metaphysical Mocha Monday. I am your host, Marc Lanehart, the Intuitive Prospector, here in our second season of Mocha Mondays, a show dedicated, 30 minutes dedicated to getting your week started off right every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. We're going to have a direct conversation right after the show. The link is down below in the comment section. So if you look for the comment sections, look for that link, the Intuitive Prospector, where I will have a direct conversation with you. Right after this, a spirit chat. Today's show, after show, will not be as long because I have some other business to get to this morning. But I hope that I can have a conversation with some of you awesome spiritual prospectors out there all around the world. And if you want to subscribe, please turn on the notification through the Om Times Institute page. You can check out some of the classes I teach through the Om Times Institute page, along with many other amazing instructors and healers and spiritual teachers like myself that really are dedicated to making a change in people, making a change in the world. And you can just head over to Om Times Institute experts page or subscribe here. And then also I've got my YouTube library link in the comment section where you can get all of my videos that I've been working on the last 2, 3 years. So there's a lot of videos, a lot of information, a lot of great experts and special guests, and some, just a lot of metaphysical, spiritual information right at your fingertips. So please subscribe to my YouTube library. I was able to contact. I am doing a free reading a month for new subscribers. So if you do subscribe to my YouTube library, I do a random pick of the people that subscribe during the month, and I give a 30-minute free reading. So I was able to connect with the lucky winner last month, which was the month of February. So she was very tickled about that. She said that not to use her name on the air, so I promised I wouldn't. So, but just wanted to congratulate her on her 30-minute free reading for being a subscriber to the Intuitive Prospector Library. So I appreciate that. So I also want to let you guys know that I have an event coming up, and I want to make sure to also put that, if you are in the Seattle area, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, I will be this Saturday up in Arlington, Washington at A Path to Avalon. I want to give a shout out to A Path to Avalon bookstore. I'll be doing spiritual conversations and connections this Saturday, March 31st. From 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. The Eventbrite's tickets are now on sale. The link is now down below in the comment section. So if you want to get tickets, you can also bring a friend and get a discount. So there's a bring a friend discount special that you can take advantage of, and there'll be discounts at the store if you're participating this Saturday up in Arlington, Washington. Spiritual Conversations and Connections. Would love to have you join me personally in person. And let me get you to the stone of the week, the prospecting stone. Again, we're talking about navigating the retrograde. Don't hide under a rock. Get out and live. But just when you're doing things, think about the prefix RE. Revisit, revive, rethink, redo. Those kinds of energies during the retrograde until April 15th. Things will be a lot smoother for you. And just have a lot of patience for the next 2 weeks. Prepare in advance for things, especially if you're traveling, anything to do with airlines, anything to do with technology. Just have a lot of patience. It's just a constant reminder for you because I've experienced it, and I experienced it this weekend firsthand. Things did not go the way that they were supposed to this weekend, and I knew that I just had to readjust. So we're navigating the retrograde this morning. One of the crystals I want to give you for this morning, if somebody would be so kind to type this in the comment section, this helps while I'm giving you the information. I know I've got a few people that assist me from time to time, but if you could type in spinel, S-P-I-N-E-L, the spinel crystal comes in. It can come in white, it can come in red, blue, it can be colorless, and it's a small crystalline with little tumbled pebbles in it. You can just go out and search on the internet too. It's called spinel. The reason I picked that prospecting crystal for this week, the attributes of the stone itself. It's a beautiful crystal. I don't know if I have one here in the studio. I know I have one in one of my bags. But it's a beautiful crystal, and its connection is with energy renewal. So I picked that stone specifically because it had the prefix word of RE. And again, the focus is on renewal. It's also a stone of encouragement in difficult times. So if there's circumstances or difficult times that are going on, the spinal or spinal, however you want to pronounce it, I always get corrected. I say it and then I say it the wrong way, and somebody says, no, it's pronounced this way. But it's spelled S-P-I-N-E-L. I would pronounce it as spinal. But it's a stone that refocuses on renewal and rejuvenation, and I picked it specifically today's message because we're talking about the prefix RE. Anything to do with an RE in front of it means again. So rejuvenation, revive, renewal. This stone will help you with that energy. And again, if you want to think in terms of unlocking the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. It facilitates the movement of Kundalini. And I know on our radio show in the next 2 weeks, we're going to have a well-known Kundalini expert on the radio show, Inspired Living Radio. That's my Wednesday internet show, so make sure to join our Facebook page of Inspired Living Radio so you can become an inspired listener and ask questions, call into the live radio show. And she's going to be calling in from England. She's a well-known Kundalini yoga expert, and she's also a well-known professional opera singer. So I'm going to learn a lot about Kundalini energy myself. But the spinal crystal opens up energy of the spine. And if you think about the spine aligns to your chakras, which is your radar systems along the body, which will help you navigate the retrograde as well. Feeling, hearing, sensing, feeling, using your five senses to navigate the retrograde. So this stone, you can wear it on your on your chakras. You can put it on your third eye. You could lay it by your bedside. There's a couple different ways to lay it out. But psychology-wise, it enhances the positive aspects of your personality, and it aids in achieving and accepting success with humility, and you need that during the retrograde time. So again, check out the spinal crystal. Its focus is to renew and to revive. That is your prospecting stone for the week. The number that I actually picked, went through my numerology deck because I pay attention to numbers as well, is New Beginnings. So I pulled the New Beginnings card. It's a number 1. Pay attention to the color orange. New beginnings for this week, so be open to the new beginnings, but at the same time, be like the jellyfish, because your spirit totem animal for the week, if you pay attention to nature, nature's our greatest teacher, it's our greatest healer, and nature always gets it done. Regardless of time, it always completes its cycles and its season. And so this week, I'm picking the jellyfish. So again, the jellyfish. And if it shows up, and the jellyfish, hopefully it doesn't show up if you're swimming in the ocean, because that's usually not a good combination. But if you see the jellyfish in, I'm thinking of like Finding Nemo cartoon, they had all the jellyfish. If you see a reference to a jellyfish, and some of you might be watching the video may actually be out in the ocean and actually see a jellyfish. So if you see that, it's about keeping your faith strong, but it's also knowing that life will supply everything that you need. You're right where you need to be. So that's a reminder, and that's the mantra as well for this week, is you're right where you need to be. Don't try to project out into your future of things that aren't guaranteed, and don't project back into the past, because you can't do anything about your past, but yet we want to carry it like a life sentence. Set that suitcase down and be in the present moment, because you're right where you need to be, and things are happening as they should. Sometimes that's not always easy. Some of our life lessons are hard. I know firsthand. I wouldn't be doing this work and talking with you today if I had not had my own journeys and transformation and tragedies, and working through my own stuff to be able to share this with you each and every week here on Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. So practice the art of non-resistance. Again, resistance, that prefix RE, going with the currents of life and the movements of life rather than going against them. And just be a little bit more cautious at this time with any work you're doing in the spirit realm. So if you're a spiritual teacher, just pay attention to your seasons and pay attention to your external environment, what's going on. And then make sure also the jellyfish is required. It talks about, from a health standpoint, getting enough water, that makes sure that you're hydrating. Coffee is good, tea is great, but water is even better. So there's your positive affirmations for this week. Again, the jellyfish, the spinal crystal, the number 1 of new beginnings in numerology, and of course, how to navigate the Mercury retrograde. So again, just applying words with the prefix RE, which again, the root word of itself, if you break it down, means again. So if you can do things like reassess, revise, revisit, reconnect, redo, recall, resay, refresh, you're on the right track during the Mercury retrograde. Give yourself a lot of patience, give yourself a lot of time for the next few weeks until April 15th, and that is when things will start to be not so intense. And again, if you want to think of in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, that's really how you start unlocking a lot of the unseen things and using your senses in a different capacity. So just want to thank you for today. We're going to go ahead and head over to the Intuitive Prospector page. The link is down below in the comment section. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube videos. Turn on the notifications here on Facebook Live for Metaphysical Mocha Mondays with Marc. I'll be on the air this Wednesday for Inspired Living Radio. If you want to join our Facebook page, Inspired Living Radio, call in. You can get that information right off marclanehart.com, internet search the Intuitive Prospector. And again, the mantra for this week is you are right exactly where you need to be. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. And I'm going to head over and get us ready for Q&A for the after show. So until our next soul adventure, be kind, be caring, be compassionate. Namaste.